It is Sunday afternoon, which means it's time for sauce or gravy, depending on your region of New Jersey. This is a unique episode where I am cooking from Anthony Bourdain's Appetites Cookbook. There ain't nothing French about this. A quick note on Bourdain's Appetites Cookbook. I've had it for a while. People have requested I do a recipe, and it's a pretty neat book. There's some good recipes in there. We dive in here with Bourdain saying, I was always bitter that I wasn't Italian American. Well, I happen to be Italian American, among 90 other things, and growing up, I would have sauce nearly every Sunday, so I hope to take what I've learned from my mom and take Bourdain's recipe and make something really delicious here. To begin, I noticed Bourdain calls for a lot of meat. Now, I simply don't have the money to buy all this. In an effort to replicate this depth of flavor we would get with pounds of meat, I got some quote undesirable beef bones. Taking a note out of Bourdain's layout cookbook, I take some tomato paste with some flour, mix it all together over these bones, and we're going to roast them. Kind of winging it here. We go in the oven at 350 degrees and I turn them at about 15 minutes. I apologize for my body blocking this view, but we rotate them just to ensure we don't get any scorching. Another 15 minutes, we give them a flip, and then one more round, totaling 45 minutes, we are left with these nicely deepened browned bones. I question if I should have used tomato paste and flour here, maybe should have just roasted them as is, but these are going to go off to the side to hang out. Time for a little prep. We get 2 medium-sized onions and dice them finely because they are going to basically melt away into this sauce after cooking for such a long time. And something I'm proud of, minimal waste there. We get our aggression out on some garlic. Bourdain calls for 5 cloves simply crushed. However, I decided to peel them and then thinly slice them just to get a little more flavor out of this. Those look nice to me. And then something I've never seen my mom do, we're gonna make basically a bouquet garni, but Italian style. Getting some cheesecloth, we add some sprigs of thyme, 2 to 3 bay leaves, and then I decided to add our garlic peels because why not? Their flavor, they're going to be contained in this nice little wrap, and then we tie this thing up. Our little flavor satchel has been prepared. And now time for my inspiration to make this recipe. My butcher friend Keegan gave me this sausage he made in-house. Super grateful for that. Now there's 2 ways to sear this up. We could sear it whole or slice it up. I decided to slice this thing up on the bias. In my mind, this would create more flavor in our sauce. That is most of our prep. Now we go over to our pot. Over medium-high heat, Bourdain calls for 2 tablespoons of olive oil. In the name of Italy, I just splash it in there and we add our sausages to brown nicely. Problem I've had with sausages is that they explode out of their casing, which happened here. I learned we were just rocking at too high of a temperature. The casing shrinks, water is rapidly being shot out of this sausage, and it results in us having this kind of explosion here, you see. Where I had to take the pot off the heat because I was getting pelted. I get our second round of sausages in here, and over a much lower heat, I sort of just add everything to the pot to get a nice overall caramelization. Now this is the color I'm looking for. Deep, dark brown, not burnt, but a really nice dark golden crust to it. The sausages come out. And of note here, Bourdain would ask for you to also cook oxtail and other meat in the pot. I think the fond would have turned black had we not cut the recipe short with the meat. So I think we made a good move. We add our onions, which have been diced, into the pot and sprinkle them with a little salt just to get some water out of there and allow us to scrape up this lovely fond. Our garlic goes in and we cook for about a minute or until it gets nice and aromatic. We then add 1 teaspoon of red pepper flakes, 1 teaspoon of dried oregano, and a pretty important ingredient here, 3 tablespoons of tomato paste, which really deepens the overall flavor of the sauce. We continue to cook this over medium heat, being careful because this gets very close to scorching, then adding dry red wine. Bourdain calls for 2 cups. As you can see, I'm just glugging away here. This is now going to reduce by half. It took me about 5 to 10 minutes to get it where I wanted to be. Pour yourself a glass of wine, essential, and you can see it's transformed nicely to a much darker color, where we then add 2 28-ounce cans of crushed tomatoes. Try to get a can that does not have BPA in it. I freaking hate that lining. I hate BPA. It sucks balls. The unique ingredient Bourdain calls for 2 cups of dark universal stock, and a must in my opinion that I've seen my mom do and many others that know what they're doing when cooking sauce. Add some water to the can so you really get all the crushed tomato in there. I am going to cook this a while, so I add about a cup or 2 of water. All of our bones we roasted previously go into the pot along with our flavor satchel. It feels weird putting this thing in there, not gonna lie. Something unique I do, I add only half of the sausages we seared up into the pot, the rest are sitting in the fridge. This way I figure we get varying textures. One sausage will be cooked a while, the other sausage will be a little firmer when we add it towards the end. Now this is the part where I really diverge from Bourdain. He has you put this in the Dutch oven and cook it in the oven. I figure we're just gonna simmer this thing very low and slow for about 6 to 7 hours versus his 2.5. This is also how my mom used to do it. I remember her making this sauce sauce early in the morning and letting it cook nearly all day. And we head out to my dad's garden to pick some basil. Coming towards the end of the season, might as well pick as much as we can here. Miss Julia Child did not seem too impressed with my fresh harvest. However, she gave it a little sniff, and who knows, maybe she is a little Italian after all. We return back to our sauce after about 6 hours. This is what we're looking at. The entire house is enveloped with that smell I remember when I was a kid, and we pull out the bones, making sure to get every single one. It always seems like there's one last one hiding in there. Now we add the rest of the sausages to cook for about half an hour. Big pot of water with a nice dose of salt, and we're going to cook our rigatoni, as Bourdain calls for. I'm not a big rigatoni guy, but I feel like these will actually hold up well with this rich sauce we have. Freshly picked basil. I found this trick when learning to chiffonade. You roll it up into kind of a cigar, go and slice as thin as you can. Into our sauce for the final touches. I'm not really measuring here. This is probably around 3 to 4 sprigs as opposed to Bourdain's 1 to 2. And I also add some more finely chopped basil as well. After about 12 minutes of boiling, the pasta is cooked damn near perfectly. Drain it off and get it back into our pot as Bourdain calls for to get rid of the excess moisture. Here I ran into a problem. Upon stirring it over very low heat, the pot was still pretty hot and the rigatoni stuck to the bottom of the pot. So we got screwed there.
Balls.
Emergency maneuvers, we get our extra clean pot, hit it with some sauce, and add the rigatoni that is not encrusted to our pan.
Sorry.
And we give that a nice stir. Nothing's gonna stick, and the rigatoni is going to soak up some of that lovely sauce as well. Good cheese just makes it, in my opinion. This is Grana Padano, one of my new favorites. Really nice flavor. And then we shred equal parts Parmesan Reggiano. Give this a quick toss, and we are ready to enjoy. I ensure to get some sausage on there with our sauce that is lovely, dark, almost crimson-like cheese, and then we do the cute little basil leaves on top, because that just looks good. Now I have to say, this is not how I would usually eat this sauce. Here is how we dish it out for the family. Just a nice bowl of the rigatoni. Serve up the sauce in another bowl, ensuring to get a lot of the freaking meat in there. And we have our cheese as well. Sometimes we would use shaker cheese. I was always a fan when my mom put out a bowl of freshly grated Parmesan, and the flavor, I have to say, really freaking good. Very close to what my mom used to make. Very nicely enhanced with the sausage my friend Keegan gave me. It held its own against this sauce. This definitely gets like two jumbo thumbs up. The flavor is round. It's not super acidic. Nothing jumps out screaming at you. I damn near replicated the flavors I remember when I was a kid eating this every Sunday. My mom still makes sauce every now and then, but times change and my Sundays are much different from then. So it's nice to be able to recreate something I remember so fondly, and a sauce that gets better overnight in the fridge. Thank you for spending your time with me. If you're into these videos, think about subscribing. This was a little special of Back to Bourdain.